Of pages 125 and 126, questions about constant of proportionality. So number one here says constant of proportionality between the number of children, represented by the letter C, and the number of teachers, represented by variable t. So the constant of proportionality is 14 to 3. So for every 14 children, there would need to be 3 teachers. So if you're going on a field trip, there's a student-teacher ratio. This ratio is 14 to 3, 14 children to 3 teachers. So children would be the dependent variable. I'm going to put this on the y-axis. And teachers would be the independent variable. The number of children depends on the number of teachers. If there's not enough teachers, no more students can attend the field trip. So we can also label this. I'll start with the x-axis 2, 4, 6, 8. Just keep going by twos until you get to 20. And then we can start with the equation here with step A, and then I'll label the y-axis next. So we are going to write an equation. I'll start with C for the number of children, because that's dependent. So then we'll put the proportionality rate of 14 over 3 times the number of teachers. So if we set up a data table, of course, if 0 teachers went, 0 children can go. If you had 3 teachers attending, 14 children can go. 6 teachers, 28 children. If you had 9 teachers, you'd have 42 children going. So you'd continue increasing at this rate of 14. 3 additional teachers, 14 additional students. It's the same constant of proportionality. 3 more teachers, 14 more students. And then you can use the equation written here to solve letter B. So it says if there are 70 children. So what you would do is you would substitute the number 70 for the letter C up here in the equation. You'd keep the constant of proportionality, 14 over 3, and then you would put the letter T for teachers. That would tell you how many teachers are on this field trip if you solve this equation. So I'll start with getting rid of the 3 on the bottom of the fraction. So 14 over 3, I would multiply by 3 over here, multiply by 3 on this side. These 3's cancel. You'd end up with 14t over here. Then on the left side, you have 3 times 70. That would be 210. And then next you have 14 times t. So divide by 14 on this side, divide by 14 on this side. These 14's cancel. You're left with t equaling, and 210 divided by 14 is 15. So that would give you the answer to letter B. And then if you were to graph this, I'd now set up my y-axis because I know the numbers here based on the data table that I made. And of course, you can keep going to 12 and then increase by 14 more. So if you added, right, 42 plus 14, it'd give you 56. So on my graph, here is 2, here is 4, 3 would be in the middle. And I'm going to put 14 here, 28, 42, 56. And then I'll line up my 3 here with my 14 here. So 3 on the x-axis, 14 on the y-axis, and then put my dot. Then I go to my next one. I can look at my data table. I have 6 and 28. So 6 is here, and 28, I can put that across and have my next dot there. Then I can go to 9 and 42. So 8 and 10 are here. 9 would be in the middle, and then 42. And I can keep placing the dots in the proper spots on the graph. So then you'll complete number 2 and number 3. I'm going to show you a similar problem to number 4 and 5. I'm going to do number 6. So number 6 says the constant of proportionality between the number of pencils and the number of markers in an art room is 3 to 8. So 3 pencils to 8 markers. So you could start your data table. You could start with 0, 0, right? You could put pencils here, markers here. You know the constant of proportionality is 3 to 8, increasing by 3 pencils, 8 additional markers. So if we were to set up this equation, we can put the number of pencils here, and we would have a proportionality of 3 over 8. And then, of course, here we'd put M for markers. So the question is asking, if there are 304 markers in the art room, how many pencils are there? So it's giving us the letter M for markers. So we'd put back into our equation, P equals 304 times the number of markers. So P equals the proportionality of 3 over 8 times the number of markers. I'll use parentheses, 304. So there's a couple different ways you can do this one. For this one, I would do it different than I did number 1. For this one, I would convert 304 to a fraction. I would just put 304 over 1. I would multiply across. So I would go 3 times 304, 8 times 1, and then I would divide those two numbers. So if I did 3 times 304, you'd get 912. And of course, 8 times 1 is 8. Then if I did 912 divided by 8, I'd get an answer of 114. So you're more or less doing what you did on number 1, but you do not need to graph. You do not need to set up the data table, but you can if you want. You can graph it as well to get extra practice. And then I'll go over numbers 4 and 5 and 2 and 3 in class.